So hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk more about ornamental style tattoos and a few of the different subgenres that fall within that. So if that's something that interests you, then keep watching. So in my last Tattoo Styles Explained video, I talked about ornamental style tattoos and I focused mainly on the tribal side of things. If that's something that you want to see, go ahead and check it out. In this video, though, I want to talk about some of the more modern styles of ornamental tattoo. The first style that I want to talk about for this video is geometric. And we've all seen geometric style tattoos. They became really popular around like the mid 2010s and they're still going. A lot of people really love this style because it creates like the optical illusion, and just like the other ornamental styles that we talked about, it can or can't have meaning. It does or doesn't have meaning. Some tattoo artists are doing geometric work with the influence of sacred geometry, so it has like, in a way, like a spiritual connotation to the tattoo, or some of them are just like, this looks cool, let's run it. A lot of notable artists in this category, because it's newer, but it's not crazy new, like in the past couple years new. So there's a lot of artists that have been able to perfect this technique over the past decade. And the first one that comes to mind is Chase Nolan out of Florida. I've watched his YouTube channel a little bit, and he does sometimes talks about why he's doing certain things, and he also talks about his journey with sobriety and things like that. So really cool channel if you just want to watch some dudes having fun tattooing mandalas, That is another thing that falls into geometric style, is the mandalas. Even if they are considered different things. Grace Neutral is another artist that specializes in mandalas. But since they have the symmetry and all of the concentric circles, or the shapes inside of the overarching thing, I would consider them to be the same as geometric. They are more often than not lumped in together anyway. The next style that I want to talk about is Blackout. And this style is kind of controversial. It has been controversial since it began, but there are a lot of really great artists that are doing this. This is kind of, it's a controversial style. It's a controversial type of tattoo to get because some people think of it as like a waste of real estate or a waste of space. Some people see it as kind of like useless. Like, if you didn't want those tattoos underneath the blackout, then why don't you just get them lasered off and do it over again? So a lot of people that don't like this style of tattoo don't like it because it doesn't have meaning. And that's okay. Like, people are allowed to like what they like, and people that get blackout tattoos are allowed to do that if they want to. There are tattoo artists that specialize in this. Even Kat Von D got a blackout arm, I believe. And everyone has their own reasons for doing this. Everyone, even if they don't have tattoos underneath and they decide to black it out, that's totally up to them. I don't really have any preference for if I like this style or not. I think a lot of people are doing interesting things with it. You can do a blackout, and then there are artists that are experimenting with putting color on top of a blackout or putting white ink on top of a blackout. And I actually blacked out a section of my own leg so I can do my own experiments with that. So interesting things are happening with it. If you are even more interested in blackout tattoos, I believe Cell EST has a really good video about it where she talks about the Brutal Blackout Project. The next style of tattooing that I want to talk about is Colorouts, which are just like blackouts, except instead of black, you use color. And just like blackouts, they do or do not have meaning. Just like blackouts, they are covering a large surface area, and you know, it's meant to be just decorative, or it can have significance. So I feel like that falls under the ornamental style tattoos as well. Um, this is not as common as blackout tattoos. I don't know if it will be, because even nowadays, a lot of people are hesitant to be getting color tattoos. A lot of people, at least in the younger generation, in like my generation, I feel like people only want black ink tattoos because they want it all to be cohesive. They want everything to look like a tattoo. Yeah, this is a lot more underground than regular blackout tattoos, but still really interesting to me. Now we're going to talk about a few newer styles, new as in the last couple years. And in my last video, I talked about neo-tribal, and I want to talk about the differences between neo-tribal and cyber sigil. So a lot of people get those confused because they both came out around the same time. Sometimes artists use like the same hashtag for their work when it is actually different styles. That's just so that they can reach a broader audience on the almighty algorithms. But in my last video, I talked about neo-tribal, which is, you know, taking tribal motifs from the early 90s, Americanized tribal motifs, and messing with them or giving them new life, doing things different to them. Cyber sigil is very much not that. Cyber sigil is its own style, which has kind of it was like birthed around the same time that neo tribal was, in the same sections of pop culture and internet culture and underground culture. Um, Cyber sigil is a lot less bold. It doesn't have any fully connected lines. It has like what looks like scrapes or dots instead of actual full lines that, you know, outline the whole piece. Cyber sigil is very aggressive and delicate at the same time. It has a lot of spikes and thorns and swoops and stuff like that, but at the same time, since the tattooing itself is so thin and small, it has its own mood to it. This is a style that is very hard to replicate. A lot of the cyber sigil things that I've seen lately are purely decorative. You know, I've seen some really good examples of people getting things on their stomach or on the tops of their hands that look really nice. And I'm not going to knock this style. I do think it's going to age, but I do think the delicacy of it is going to aid in the way that it ages. I think you're going to be able to add things to it or change things or cover these up very easily, which I think is great. Just in case it does have the same cultural effect that tribal did. Time will tell. We'll see. I also want to talk about a different style that is kind of similar to cyber sigil. I don't really know the name of it though, so it's a mystery style. It's the closest style to cyber sigil, but it has a whole different vibe, in my opinion. And I have not been able to find a name for this. I've seen this style for the like probably about the past year, and I can't think of a name myself. I want to say like Baroque cyber sigil, but that seems like a lot of words, like Baroque sigil, Rococo sigil. I'm not sure what the name should be. I haven't seen any names that accurately fit this style. So I'm going to throw up a few pictures. You can comment down below what you think this style should be named. And yeah, it's very similar to cyber sigil in the fact that it has like the scratchy looking dots, the non-connecting lines, the very delicate line work, very thin. But instead of having like the aggressive cyber hacker Y2K aesthetic, it has more of like a Renaissance or Baroque Rococo aesthetic. and I really, really love this style. I think it is beautiful, and I love the way that these things are going to age, because as fine line tattoos get older, in my opinion, it's going to fill itself out. It's going to get more dimension as time goes on, and yeah, I just think it's beautiful. I would like to have something like this on myself one day, but we'll see. So, I finished filming and then I realized that there's one more style that I wanted to talk about that I didn't have a chance to. This style of tattoo, I feel like, is called Gothic Ornamental or Dark Ornamental. I've seen it a lot as hands or as throat tattoos where it's just, it looks very sinister, like vines or like thorns rising up around their throat or like on top of their hands. Gothic lettering is another topic that we're going to talk about in another video, but as far as just like putting something dark and scary and spooky on your body, I believe this style, in my opinion, would be either called Dark Ornamental or Gothic Ornamental. This is a style that I see a lot out of Europe, like Poland especially, and we're going to talk about some other different types of Gothic styles later on in a different video. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things with YouTube. It's really difficult being a full-time apprentice. Usually I have one day off a week because I'm at the shop as much as I can be, and yeah, so YouTube is hard. YouTube's hard. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, so hopefully after this video, the next few videos are going to be more on time.